Sadhguru, in line with the yoga question, I remember for last year we concentrated on children. So my question is, what types of yoga can children do, and what are the benefits, specific benefits, and how to inspire them?
How to?
Inspire the kids, the children, to do yoga.
Not just last year, even for this yoga day, our focus is on children and on soldiers in the country. I don't know in the last 1 year how many soldiers in the country have died, I don't have statistics. But in the year 2015, over 18,000 children did not die, they committed suicide. And over 7,000 of them were below 13 years of age. There is no greater disaster in a society. When our children start committing suicide, we are doing something fundamentally wrong, something very fundamentally wrong. I don't know if there are similar statistics in other countries, but there is some statistic. How bad it is may depend from society to society, nation to nation, it may be different. But in all these countries where they are striving from poverty towards affluence, unfortunately this is happening. In India, one of the main reasons why it's happening is because in India passing mark is 98. And another reason why over 15 are committing suicide is because they're getting romantically involved. They're in love, so they kill themselves. There are two reasons. Main thing is because of examinations. Next thing is, love affairs are killing a lot. So, we focused on children last year, and I think we touched a little over 35,000 schools across the country, teaching them a simple… wait. The problem is much bigger. 35,000 schools in this country is still a drop. We taught them what is called as Upa-yoga, which is very easy to transmit. Something that's easy to transmit and easy to practice is important when it comes to children. One thing is the numbers are big, so it must be very simple. If it is complex system of yoga, if it's highly sophisticated system of yoga, the delivery will be minimal, because delivering very complex systems of yoga, which are transformative, but if we do not deliver them properly, it could be very damaging. It can cause much damage. So, the simplest form of yoga, which is called as Upa-yoga, the idea is, one thing is to bring a chemical balance in the child so that… See, essentially, suicides are happening because emotional, big waves of emotion happen, and at that moment it feels like it's better to die. Many times, in many people's lives, they might have felt like this, but it passed. You didn't take action. Yes or no? Many moments when something really went wrong and you were emotionally upset, you feel like, I must kill myself. But no action, it passed. That moment passed, after that, of course you want to live. But unfortunately, for some people, their emotions are sloshing so much at that moment, They actually took action. And unfortunately, they are also efficient. Nobody knows the statistics of attempted suicides. In India, nobody will tell anybody, I attempted suicide because only recently this law was unpeeled, otherwise, or rather repealed. Otherwise, in India, it's a crime. To attempted suicide means you can get 7 years in prison. I'm saying someone attempted suicide means he needs compassion, not punishment. He needs tenderness and care, not punishment. But attempted suicide had 7 years imprisonment, only now, a few months ago, it was taken off. This does not mean you can attempt. So with children, this is not a joke, this is an unfortunate reality, very unfortunate reality. That little children who must be bubbling with life, think of taking away their own life is unimaginable, isn't it? So, the most important thing that needs to happen is we need to reform, recreate our education system. But that is not one day's job. That needs dedicated people. By bringing in a new system, it's not going to work. The people who conduct the system must have love for what they're doing. Teaching or handling of children cannot and should not be done in a professional way. A teacher, a doctor, a guru, a one who transmits spiritual process, they must do what they're doing because of the commitment and dedication and the love that we have for the people around you. It can't be done professionally. But there are millions of teachers. How to get them to that state? That's a long way off. So the simple thing we can do is equip the children to be able to survive the teachers and the system. That they have sufficient balance, they can handle the madness of our so-called education systems. Because it's quite inhuman. It's not inhuman because it's difficult. It's inhuman because of the way it's conducted. I think it's too bloody easy, it must be made much more difficult. Children must learn to stretch themselves beyond their limits, but it's the way it is done. Who is doing it is the question. When someone is joyful, you can stretch them as much as you want and they are fine. When you don't know how to keep them joyful, if you stretch them, they will break. Yes or no? So, one thing is to bring yoga so that children are equipped to handle this. What type of yoga? A simple form, as simple as possible, so that it's easily transmitted without distortion and they're able to practice in a very simple way. And if they deviate 10–20%, there is absolutely no harm. Because if you teach highly sophisticated yoga, above all, their skeletal system is growing up without knowing what is what. I see all kinds of asanas are being taught in the schools to the children. When your skeletal system is still growing up, if you do certain type of asanas, your skeletal system can get twisted out. So till you become 14 years of age, there are certain aspects of yoga that you should not do because that is designed for adults. There are certain types of yoga that girl children should not do because of the nature of their biology. But without any of these things, common prescriptions are being done to everybody. So this is very carefully calibrated system of yoga, which helps in the development of the child physiologically and psychologically. Above all, it is focused towards bringing a certain level of emotional balance. This will not just avoid a disaster of suicide. Believe me, for most human beings, whatever intelligence they have, whatever competence they have, whatever capabilities they have, only a small percentage of that finds expression because they are not emotionally totally balanced. They always fear. Unhappiness, misery, disappointment, depression may take them over, so they will only go at that pace because there is no balance. From anything to anything, from the simplest thing to the greatest things we do. Even if you have to ride a bicycle, if you have no balance, you go like this, you can't look here, can't look here. But if you have balance, you can leave your hands, look at everybody, do the mischief. Everything you can do because you have balance, isn't it? Same goes with life. If you have balance, at a time you can do many things. Otherwise, if you don't have balance, you're doing one thing, you can't do another thing. So this is a most fundamental thing that needs to happen at an early age to everybody, that you bring them to a certain sense of psychological balance, an emotional balance, that they won't slosh. You create a chemistry of balance. If this happens, they will get to explore their intelligence, their competence and their genius in many different ways. If this one thing doesn't happen, you will see, even if there is enormous capability, it goes unexplored for the fear of suffering. This is true with 85% of humanity, that they do not explore the full depth and dimension of their competence simply because they are not emotionally balanced. And this is equally important for the soldiers. They must be emotionally balanced. So this year we are focusing on children and soldiers.